What's going on, guys? Your boy Rome 300 back again with another video. Welcome to He Smells Like Rome. My smell good guys, thank you guys for joining me. For those who just joined for the first time, we talk about niche fragrances, hard to find luxury fragrances that aren't talked about much in this fragrance community. I'm going to have you smelling so good that you're going to cause conversations. For those who have continued to come back and watch my videos, keep on coming back. I truly appreciate you guys. That's for the title. We're talking about one of my most sought after fragrance houses. I've been obsessed with this fragrance house for the better part of 5 years, and they have just been out of my reach because they don't ship to America. Well, they do now, but they haven't in maybe the last 3 years. And if you did, or they would ship you something, it would cost you an enormous amount of money. So I'm happy to have this beautiful creation in my collection, and I'm talking about Spirit of Dubai Turath. Man, when I talk about just beautiful, jaw-dropping presentation, I have to mention Spirit of Dubai. This is the first generation packaging and also fragrance. This is their latest fragrance that came out in 2019. And just look at the presentation itself. Navy blue, hard cardboard box. I'm not sure what material is on outside of it, but it has a kind of silk feel. It has a metal rim around it. This is either copper or rose gold, I'm not sure, but it's just beautiful to behold. On top of that, when we look inside, this looks like a luxury Swiss watch case. It has a booklet with all the fragrances inside, giving you a little history, a little background of the fragrances from the first and also second generation right there. And it don't stop there, y'all. It doesn't stop there. Let me show you what else. Whoever designed these fragrances needs a raise. Pretty much. Travel case. A beautiful travel case that comes with this fragrance. So if you taking a trip, a vacation somewhere, you don't have to worry about bringing a huge presentation, and you know your fragrance is going to be secure inside. This thing has a suede inside and a soft padded suede inside, so your fragrance can sit comfortably and secure. And we still going, y'all. we still going. I have not laid my eyes on a better looking presentation than this company right here, Spirit of Dubai. Oh my goodness. From the gold top, metal top, to the Swarovski crystals surrounding the top and the emblem, to the painting and the story description around this fragrance. Everything just shouts luxurious. An unbelievable fragrance with an unbelievable story that you guys are about to hear about right now.
As you travel across the land, its ancient culture seeps into you, enriching you with the poetic beauty of the Mu'allaqat, the narrative splendor of the 1001 Nights, and the enchanting flavors of Arabian cuisine. The fragrance is the pristine essence of bergamot, rose damascene, jasmine, and vanilla blended with the earthy flavors of patchouli and leather, enhanced with the mesmerizing scents of ambergris and smoky notes.
Now, I talked about this house years ago when I first got introduced to it. They were generous enough to send me a sample pack of the first generation. And I talked about that. If you want, I'll put a link in the description below so you can go check that out. This fragrance wasn't actually developed at that point. It came a few years later. So I didn't get a chance to smell this. And then I started seeing some of my favorite reviewers talk about the fragrance, which got me hyped. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I gotta get my nose on this joint. So I searched around, and I wound up getting a sample of this fragrance. And to be honest, when you look at the notes, right, the note breakdown of this fragrance itself, it's, I mean, an enormous amount of ingredients in this fragrance. There's over, and I'm not joking, look at me, I'm not joking, there's over 45 notes in this fragrance listed. That's mind-blowing. And for a niche head like me, someone that's been in this game, a veteran of just, you know, a connoisseur of fragrances, if I say so myself. So when it comes down to note breakdown, I can already imagine what this fragrance is going to smell like, right? On top of the hype from the other fragrance reviewers, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is definitely going to be up my alley. I'm thinking this is going to be a smoky gourmand fragrance. I sprayed the fragrance on my hand, and it was nothing of the sort. I'm like, yeah, that's not what I thought this was gonna smell like. Don't get me wrong. My thoughts didn't disappoint me when I smelled it. It just wasn't what I thought. This came off, and I said this before on my Instagram channel, and also a couple of times when I mentioned this fragrance before. This smells like a fruity hookah. If I can simply put it, a fruity, smoky hookah, this is what this smells like. Now, it's not just that. It's not as simple as that. This fragrance is very complex in its breakdown and when it develops on your skin. But when I first sprayed it, I can say I was like, this reminds me of something. Yeah, this reminds me of a hookah. Now, I don't smoke, but I've been in clubs, I've been in lounges that, you know, we probably get a table and some of my friends might want to get a hookah, and they get one of those little stands that have the little tower with the hookah thing. You know how it is. And they, you know, puffing and smoking and it's in the air. I'm like, yeah, that smells like that. Definitely. So, how this opens, to give you a better description. It opens up with a red apple note, a fresh red apple, juicy red apple. Immediately met with a nice tropical pineapple. Now this pineapple is also very juicy, but on the riper side. The apple complements the pineapple where their sweetness is not very heavy, but it still has that juicy fruit nuance. And you can kind of get this kind of watery freshness from it. Now we continue with the fruit vibes and you get strawberry. The strawberry is more on the bitter side, so it's contrast to the slight bitterness from the pineapple and the apple, which are more sweeter. I started to look at the notes while I was kind of smelling the fragrance, and I started to think, I'm like, man, this has another fruit note in it. And it did. The fruit note I didn't know. I couldn't come up with what it was. I said, what does it smell like? It's something I've eaten before, but I can't, you know, put my hands on it, my mind on it. It's a peach note. Now, I was like, I hope this doesn't turn to a feminine fragrance, which it didn't at all. It sat right in the middle. This fragrance is definitely a unisex fragrance, which I appreciated. So you got those combination of fruit notes that give you such a slight sweet vibe, also combined with almost a fruit basket, tropical fruit note. And we get a coconut vibe. Nutty, creamy, milky coconut. Still very subtle on its presentation or its development into the fragrance. It's not shouting, it's not taking over the fragrance. You just can smell hints of this milky, nutty coconut vibe. I'm like, okay, this is really good. Now y'all like, Ron, what are you talking about hookah? That don't smell like a hookah. Hold up. We got about 15 minutes into the fragrance, and I remember I'm spraying this little sample in my hand because I came there for another fragrance from this line called Majetis. I think that's how you say it. And a brush. Those are the two I came there for to smell. And I'm like, this smells good, but it's reminding me of hookah. I don't smoke, but I'm liking it. 15 minutes into it, this smoky nuance came out. I smelled this burning incense vibe. And that's what said, okay, I'm sold. I need this. That fruity nuance mixed with this burning incense vibe. Bam, hookah in your face, smelling wonderful. Now, it doesn't stay there where you just get a smoky, fruity vibe. That would be simple. That can be anywhere. No. When I said the complexity of this fragrance is unmatched, I'm telling you, it is unmatched. It starts to develop when we get to the middle of the fragrance, and you start to get woody nuances. The woody nuances, you get this cedar wood. The cedar wood is very dry, combined with an oud agarwood. Those two woody combinations develop very subtle, but the presence is there. You got woody notes from the dryness of the cedar wood. In my opinion, it's very dry, almost aromatic in the cedar wood. The undertone of the oud is very subtle too, but for me, I can always detect a soft, mature oud. Not those synthetic ouds or those ouds that are aged maybe 2 years and it just smells like horrible barnyard BO. That's what you get when you don't let your oud sit or your agarwood age properly. Now, just a quick little lesson for those who don't understand. Agarwood is where oud comes from. The oud oil is extracted from the agarwood. Now, the better the oud smells, it's how long you let that tree live in its natural environment. Animals living in the tree, animals using the tree for whatever purpose, insects infesting the tree, and when all those things happen in nature over 20, 30, 40, 50 years, that tree has now been infected with so many different natural environment things. I'm not going to get graphic, but you know what I mean. You take that tree and now you use it and extract the oud oil from it. You're going to get a resinous, woody, very thick and heavy, dense oud oil. And those oud oils are the ones that are smoother, sweeter, more earthy, instead of smelling like just plain poop. So, in this fragrance, that's where I get that subtle oud note from. I know that was a lot. I just wanted to give you guys some clarification, because sometimes we tend to not understand the depth that it takes to make a really good fragrance that has oud in it. So, like I said, you get the woody tones, you get the woody nuances. Now, this becomes such an invigorating fragrance because now we have to introduce the floral notes. We got violet, we got rose. Those two combinations for me sit again on the drier side. These aren't the floral wet rose or the super feminine style of violet. No, no, no. This is definitely a dry, sitting out in the sun, haven't been watered in probably a week type of dry rose or violet leaf. Still, you get the earthy tones, you still get the floral, but it's not sitting on that sweeter floral side. This is definitely on the earthier side, in my opinion. The fragrance still continues to have the smoky nuance, but now the fresh fruit has died down, and now you get this dry fruit. Now the dry fruit is super, super intense at this point. Now, it's not one of those beast mode fragrances. No, it's not that. This fragrance is definitely more on the 3-4 feet circumference, and leaves a beautiful trail maybe 2 feet behind you. It's not going to overwhelm you. It's not going to engulf the whole room. But anybody in your company between 3 to 4 feet will definitely enjoy this fragrance. It's, like I said, it sits very well in between, and it's a very balanced fragrance. And I'm comfortable with it being that. I don't need this to be beast mode because they have some very strong fragrances in their collection, and not everything needs to be smell me 10 minutes before I get in the room. Every time I look at this fragrance, I'm just blown away by just the presentation. I'm just sorry, it's just beautiful. Let me spray a little bit on my hand so you can see the sprayer, and also I can get a little bit more familiar with the fragrance real quick. All right, so let me spray that. Man, yeah. This is, like I said, oh, yeah, yes. That incense, man, that incense and the fruitiness, which is weird now. I'm getting the incense and I'm getting the pineapple first now. Wow, just, listen to me when I tell you, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to quality fragrances. But I'm not talking to the guys that have been watching me for years. You guys know I take my time when it comes to this. I'm talking to the new ones that you probably first time jumping on this page. Trust me, this is a fantastic fragrance. All right, let's get to the dry down of the fragrance, right? Now we're around 6-7 hours into the fragrance. We went past the fruity, smoky nuances. We dived in and entertained the woody, floral aspects of this fragrance. But now, this is where this fragrance completely changes and becomes its own. And I don't know if I said this before, but I'm gonna say it again. I hate, let me say that again. I dislike when you have a fragrance and you can immediately say it smells like something else. Why would I do that? Why would I buy that fragrance if this smells like that? I'll go get that fragrance. This fragrance, I can say without any problem, stands on its own, has its own characteristics, and smells like nothing I had in my collection and nothing I've ever smelled. That doesn't say I've smelled everything, but I've smelled enough to know that this doesn't smell like anything that I have, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to smell like anything you have. We're going to continue with the dry down. We got this vanilla vibe, right? Now, this is one of those elite vanillas. This is a slightly sweet vanilla, but more on the powdery side. Complemented with a beautiful sandalwood. Now, the sandalwood isn't creamy, not super creamy. It's slightly creamy, but still also on the powdery vibe. It's like sandalwood that's been ground down to almost a powder dust. Now, those combinations together almost kind of confuses me, where they both become almost identical in some points. You start to think the sandalwood has a little bit of the vanilla and vice versa, which is beautiful to me. It's also complemented by a earthy patchouli. The patchouli is also slightly spicy, slightly smoky. Now, the smoke nuance from this still continues to come up, but now it literally smells, and I'm gonna break this down to you. It literally smells like that dry fruit I was talking about, sitting on a bed of coal that was burning for about 15 minutes. And that heat from that burning coal is pushing the air all around you with that fruit, that dry fruit. So we got incense, we got oud, we have the burning dry fruit on this coal. All these nuances from that powdery vanilla combined with the cedarwood and sandalwood. This fragrance is a woody, spicy oriental that is, I mean, out of this world. Out of this world. You cannot go wrong if you have this fragrance in your collection. This is something that you definitely can wear any special occasion, any dressed up occasion, 3-piece suit, ballroom gown, you're going on an important event, you're going on a date that you want to impress the person, or you just want to turn heads and cause conversation. This is the fragrance that I would say is one of those fragrances that are so complex that anybody you pass will remember you or ask you, what are you wearing? And that's what I go for when I have fragrances. I need to have this fragrance where I'm just always reminded, oh man, I smell fantastic. Every now and then I walk past someone and that wind kind of blows the fragrance into my face and blows it into their face. And I'm like, man, I smell good. And they agree. They're like, wow, you smell good. Now, I'm not going to be arrogant and be like, oh, I know. No. You don't want to do that. You take the compliment. They probably ask you where you got it from. And then that's where you start the conversation. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much it. I'll go a little old school for you. I'll go a little old school. Time to wear this fragrance. You can wear this fragrance the later part of the fall and definitely winter. This is a winter fragrance 100%. Nighttime, absolutely. Like I said, this is an upscale fragrance. This is an elite fragrance, a luxury fragrance. So I want to wear this when I'm going somewhere important. I'm going somewhere where I want to show off and show out. This fragrance will last at least 10 hours on your skin, and it's not going to be beast mode. It will be balanced and just enough for you to walk past or stay in a zone, and people 3 to 4 feet, maybe 5, will be able to smell you in a 360 circumference. Unisex fragrance, and once again, guys, one of the best fragrances from this house. If you got an opportunity or get an opportunity, go check this fragrance out. You can thank me later. I think that's it. All right, guys. Until next time, like I always say, it's okay if you want to smell like Rome. I'll check you guys out in the next video. Till then, peace.